2019 Carrera T manual, touch over 40,000 miles, not many. So what we're gonna do in this video is we're gonna talk about the car. This is I've kind of turned these walk around videos kind of into my welcome comment. And I find I can talk about the car while I'm looking at it and things. I don't script this. This is just kind of like my experiences with it. I point out the good, I point out the bad, and most people really appreciate these videos, I think. If I were buying a car in the auction format, whether it be on Bring a Trailer or Cars and Bids, I would really appreciate all this information. So that's what I try and do. Okay, so first let's talk about the history of the car a little bit. So I'm gonna save all the internet sleuths a lot of hassle and, you know, dropping the comment did you know this? Yes, this car, if you Google the VIN, you will find a listing for it that when it was for sale a couple years ago, it was wrapped green. 100%, you will see that. You will also see it notated that it has an APR tune, which I confirmed. It also mentions it has, I believe, Soul downpipes and like catless downpipes, and maybe one more thing I don't exactly remember because it was like a month or two ago I read it. Okay, so since then that guy bought the car at right around 30,000 miles, and I actually tracked him down on the Facebook 991 group. I found out that he is the owner that had the wrap removed. He said it looked great, but he just preferred white, and I can see why, because nothing really beats a white 911. So he told me he is an aircraft mechanic by trade. He replaced the spark plugs on the car when he initially got it. So right around 30,000 miles, it did have plugs done. He did them himself. He couldn't really justify the expense. Can't say I blame him. So unfortunately, we don't have any documentation other than him telling me that. And it's kind of like, why would he just make that up? So I have no reason to not believe him. Okay, additionally, I found out where the second key is. He traded the car in at a dealership in New Jersey called 21st Auto something or other. I can pass the information along to the buyer, and you are more than welcome to try and get the second key from them. I had no luck. Maybe you will have more luck than I did. So, okay, he also had it tuned. I confirmed that. And then when he traded the car in, he did give them, he put the cats back on, and then he gave that dealership the Soul downpipes, and who knows where they are. Maybe they're there somewhere. Maybe they sold them, you know, kind of like, who knows at this point where they are. But I can pass all that information along. Okay, so then where did I get the car from? Good question, valid question. I uploaded the inspection and the tires and all that. So I got the car from another dealer, but he's not like a dealer in that I am a dealer, that he has a dealer's license, but he uses it because he likes to drive nice expensive cars, and I guess it's a way for him to not pay registration. And I guess if you're buying $100,000 cars, it's worth it. So at any rate, he bought the car from the 21st place in New Jersey, who got the car from the guy who I found via Facebook. I hope this is all making sense. He got the car, he took it into Porsche Wilmington in North Carolina. They did the inspection. They said it needed tires. He had tires done. He said, they told him it needed a battery. He replaced the battery. Those invoices have been uploaded. It also needed hood shocks. He did those himself. If you've done those before, super easy. And I don't think he did not send me that receipt, but obviously the hood stays up. So again, no reason to not believe him. So that's kind of the history on the car. I bought it. The only reason he sold it was he found an Audi R8 that he wanted, and he needed to generate the cash. So we are going to do we're going to do paint meters with my admittedly cheap Amazon paint meter reader. And I always kind of joke I would not land on the moon using my paint meter, but it will tell you if a vehicle's been painted. It screams at you because it works. Basically it works. So the main thing I want to point out as we do the walk around on the exterior is, okay, so the guy that had the wrap removed, whom I spoke to, he conveyed to me that it was a really good wrap, meaning they did the door jambs, they did the everything, and taking it off, he told me, was a big pain in the ass, and he paid a shop to do it, and it was expensive, and they did a really good job. But in my never-ending effort to disclose everything I see about these cars, I did manage to find a little bit of the green residue, mainly right here. Okay, you see that? Right there. So you might say, well, why didn't I take the bumper off and get that green out? And here's why. The bumper fitment is perfect, right? It is perfect. And I was a little, if we're being honest, I was a little afraid that maybe, it would be a little off because it just looks, I didn't want to screw with it. And the green residue I was able to find was like so minuscule. It was hard to justify, the possibility of something being off when I put it back on for that little bit of green. Now I know, I'm the same way. I know Porsche guys, we can be a little funny about things. So that if somebody wants to tackle that, I would say go for it. But for the purpose of driving the car and enjoying the car, I couldn't really say if it's something that I would do. I mean, maybe if I needed something to do on a weekend, but I would probably just leave it alone. Okay, there is some curb rash on this lower valence, which unfortunately I would say is fairly common, especially on this one because it is lowered. And then we have a little dingo here on the front bumper, right here, and then on the driver's side, right here. And there was like, touch up at home type deal. That could have been when the wrap was removed. I don't know. I didn't ask him because, the front bumper, you're gonna get some wear and tear on that just because of where it is. And with the H&R springs, this car, I mean, it looks really good, right? It's the stance is, it's awesome, but it is really low. I did want to talk about these mud flaps. I'm not really sure where those came from, but if they're not your style and you want to take them off, that would be too easy. They were held on by 2 screws, so you could take those off in like 38 seconds if you weren't into them. But honestly, they don't look terrible, and they might protect, they might save the paint a little bit, so it's kind of like, why not leave them on? The hood, so as a result of the car being wrapped for a while, the paint, there's just not, I counted like 3 or 4 chips on the hood. That's it. Right there. And, well, that's a bug. Get out of here. What are you doing? Right there. Right there. So there's like four paint chips on the hood, which is like, that's nothing. Meaning I've seen them a lot worse. So, well, I think we all have seen them a lot worse. But there's just not a lot to really point out. On the 996s I sell, the older ones, there's usually a good bit just because they're 20, 25 years old. But this being a 2019, that was, there's just, other than a little bit of a nominal amount of green residue, there's not a whole lot to really mention. If there was, I'd point it out. You know, I do nitpick these cars. There's a little bit of there's some rock rash, road rash, whatever you want to call it, on these fenders that kick out here. The front, I guess the front quarters, and that's normal. You know, that's nothing. You're gonna drive the car. These do flare out. I mean, it's hard to, you know, there's a little chip there. I don't even know if that's not even a rock chip. Okay, so that's really all I got to talk about the exterior. I mean, the headlights, it's just, this car is just super clean, right? Like super clean. Okay, so let's knock our paint meters out. All right, so we're gonna start on the driver fender. Okay, 4.5, good. 4.5, good. Driver's door, 6. And this is kind of what you'd expect for a 2019. I mean, sometimes on my older 996s, they get a little thin, just from the years of, you know, cleaning and washing and sitting outside and everything. So, you know, a 3 to 5 on a 2019 is kind of what I would expect. So I'm not seeing anything indicative of any paint work. Which, I mean, I asked him if anything happened. He said no. The guy that I got it from, you know, he said same thing. So, yeah, I mean, this thing's checking out perfect. So that's a hard on the hood. I can actually read that, 6. Sometimes the hood presents a funny angle. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it's I mean, the stance is just, I mean, that's just awesome, right? Like, can you beat that? I don't know. So we're gonna go through the interior briefly. You know, I always try to demonstrate everything works properly. But again, like this being a 2019, right? Like it's, you know, 6 years old. Well, 20, so I guess 7 years old. But you really would expect everything to function, and it does. So windows. And this is a T. Well, obviously it's a T. We all know that it's a T. So we don't have a sunroof. You know, it's pretty much, you know, the lightweight with the different glass and whatnot. And it so it doesn't really have a whole lot of options. It just has all the fun performance stuff. You know, the PSE, PSM. It does have heated seats. I didn't know the T's. I mean, I guess that makes sense. So it kind of has everything you need and nothing you don't. I guess is a good way to kind of explain it there. All the you know, the second hand is there on the Sport Chrono. Always gotta make sure that's there. PSE. Of course, you can raise the spoiler up. Sport Plus. And you can do individual, but I mean, I just usually drive in Sport. It's probably the best way to go. There's our mileage. I probably put about 200 miles on it. I mean, no real reason to, you know, it's good enough for me. I wouldn't want anything to happen to it while I had it. So I'm not sure if the door pulls are stock or if they were added. I'm not entirely sure. But I'm sure the folks in the Bring a Trailer community know. And they will let me know. But anyway, they're there. They're cool. You just pull them, you know, you pull right here, door opens, pretty neat. You can see the spoilers up. Well, so we're gonna lower it. There's nothing as far as like, oop. So when I do my walk around, you know, I always point out interior imperfections. The interior is, I mean, it's perfect. The seats show little to no, I mean, they show no wear. There's not even wear on the bolsters. There's like 2 creases right there. And these, of course, are the 18-way seats, and they have the higher, the more pronounced bolsters on the bottom, and they don't even have any wear. So, I mean, I don't even know if anyone ever sat in the passenger seat. And the interior, you know, the interior, the T interior package is super cool. I really like it. And then the silver gray, you know, the belts with the stitching and the stitching in the floor mats, it just ties together. And then you got the silver platinum wheels, and then the mirrors, and then the last thing that ties it all in is the engine, the gills on the engine cover right here, are that same kind of like gray. And I don't know about you guys, but nothing beats a white 911. I mean, it just screams class. This is super, super sharp 991. And it's the last year of the 991.2, obviously. And I've always considered the 991.2 to be my favorite iteration, and I've driven every single water-cooled trim out there. I've driven them. All the 996s, all the 997s, all the 991s, and the 991.2 by far is my favorite. It's the right size, has the right tech, looks amazing. So yeah. Alright guys, so we're pushing 20 minutes. Sometimes I get a little long-winded, but I just like talking about these cars, and you know, like I said, I always try to tell everybody everything I know about them. Kind of makes it better for everybody involved. We're just going to show the headlights functioning. Of course, we have no vehicle messages, and you know, these cars, they'll let you know if something's wrong. If you got a light out, or you know, tire pressure or something like that, they're very good at screaming at you. So there you go, guys. Let's get the party started and get her sold. If you got questions, just let me know. And thanks for watching.